All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, which is to say in the Paleo Hebrew, also known as the Lashawan Quadash, Yahweh, which means He is, and that is who the world ignorantly calls God. Bahashim, which means in the name, Yahweh Shai, which means He is our salvation. And that is who the world also ignorantly calls Jesus a so called black man, who, by the way, only came for the Israelites, you so called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, alongside also the speckled birds, all right? Which brings us to our discussion slash topic this evening tonight, all right? And the topic, just going to put it out there, false prophets, okay? And I'm talking about those that are in the truth, charlatans hired to deceive, that took in the bag, that sold out, agents, all right? And we getting ready to come into times like never before. And you're going to see just who has been compromised by the other side, all right? Because we can only tell you so much about the doctrine, how they switched it up, how they won't acknowledge certain prophecies. And then it's just going to have to be made evident and apparent. See? And when it does, you're going to know that you've been had and that there was a real, true man of the Lord, a servant, a prophet amongst you. Okay? Because why? You've been told numerous times, man. All right? What to look out for when you're dealing with a charlatan, a hire, someone that doesn't have your best interest at heart, only your pockets, that'll tell you whatever you want to hear, that won't blow the trumpet, the correct tune in Zion to give them the warning. Such as what? Not having the correct or proper names to call on. Not telling you what the mark of the beast truly is, okay? Not telling you the severity of the times that we're going in, but instead selling you a pipe dream, making you feel better by yourself, telling you that the names doesn't matter, telling you that the mark of the beast is anything other than what it is. These are charlatans. These are false prophets. These are hirelings, okay? Now, you leave the church thinking you have found the truth only to be what? Misled within what you believe to be the truth. By what? Israelite leaders, okay? So we have to pray for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding for the Lord to show us and to do what? Direct our paths into the right path, man. Because crunch time is getting closer and closer. And not having these essentials is like not being prepared for war, okay? Because that's essentially what we're getting ready to head into going into Jacob's trouble. So without any further ado, let's read Micah 3, subtitle, Rulers Denounce. In a couple of these verses, we're going to get it in translation in the NLT. So this is the book of Micah, chapter 3 and verse 1. And it reads, "And I said, Hear, I pray you, O heads of Jacob, and ye princes of the house of Israel. Is it not for you to know judgment?" See? So these individuals that's claiming to be set up by, some of them don't even call on the name of Yahweh, but under the guideline or banner of waking up to the truth and having knowledge of this truth, they've garnished the attention to have them to believe that they're set up by a higher power. Some just say the name Yah. Some just say the name Ahaya. You see? Some just say the name God. Some just say the name Christ. Some just say the name Yeshua. Some just say the name Yeshua. Yeshaya. When they know good and darn well that the name is what? The Father name is Yahweh, He is, and his only begotten son name is Yahweh Shai. He is our salvation. See? But for whatever strange reason, they don't want to acknowledge the Father through the Son. Okay? If they want to try to stand out, make themselves separate from all other Israelites that's worshiping the Father through the only begotten Son, they may try to use another name or try to stay with the name that we were taught in Christianity, God and Jesus. For whatever purpose that they're using it, they're deliberately misleading the flock or their congregation to what? Condemnation. So let's read that again. Micah 3:1. And I said, hear, I pray you, O heads of Jacob, those in authority, those that you look to for guidance, those that in these last days you've given your trust over to. It says, and ye princes of the house of Israel, is it not for you to know judgment? Who hate the good and love the evil, who pluck off their skin from off them, and their flesh from off their bones. Now here it is. We were in a valley of dry bones, didn't know who we were, waking up to who we are for the first time, really, in a long time. Because why? This is the worst captivity we've ever been in, where we lost our identity. It was stripped from off of us. We had to wake up again to who we are. And here it is. You got charlatans, hirelings, taking advantage of the people, telling them that all nations can be saved, that the name doesn't matter, that the mark of the beast is something totally different. These are quintessential elements of the truth that needs to be told in accuracy to build up one's faith. But see, ultimately, you have to be called to this truth, all right? Because it says in the book of Matthew, chapter 22:14, for many are called, but few are chosen. That's the elect. They're the only ones that's going to get this time-sensitive material in time before the destruction comes. So it says those heads of Jacob and princes of the house of Israel, because that's both kingdoms, man. All right? The northern and the southern kingdom. All right? So-called blacks, so-called Latinos, Native Americans. It says, who hate the good. The leaders, they hate the good, man. They don't want to give credit. They don't want to acknowledge the Son. They want to use Christianity to still perpetrate the name of Jesus or Christ. Or if they don't, they deviate and they just say Yeshua or Yeshaya. They don't want to say Yahweh Shai. They don't want to say Yahweh. They say God. They say Ahaya. They say Yah. Okay? They do any and everything to try to separate themselves from the truth, man. To stand out, to make them feel better amongst their congregation, to make their congregation feel some type of way. Like this is the place. Like this is the truth. But all the while, they know that they're perpetrating a lie deliberately. Because why? The Lord put the Spirit on them to be misleading and deceiving. Okay? I could think back to when the Lord was having a council in the heavens and he asked the angels, a spirit came up to him and said, how shall we deceive Ahab, if I'm not mistaken? And a spirit said, I should go down to him and be a lion spirit. See? So it says the deceived and the deceiver are his, man. If you've been given over to a fake or a false leader, that's because the Lord doesn't want you. Although you came close to figuring out just about what it's all about, you're not the elect. If you're not the elect, you're not going to get it. It's going to be a block between you and Yahweh through his only begotten son Yahweh Shai. You almost there. You know you an Israelite. That's about as far as it go. Okay? You know you got to keep the commandments. That's about as far as it go. What you don't know is that you got to have the name. You got to understand the severity of what the mark of the beast is, because if you take it out of ignorance, that's no one else's fault but your own. See? But see, these leaders, they deliberately misleading you because why? They're taking your money from you every week. All right? They want to sound so deep. That's why they do these debates. That's why they do these podcasts, because they got to keep it flowing, man. That's why they travel across the world. They got to keep up the appearance. All right? They travel to make one proselyte. All right? They put on a show, you know. If you know, you know. The purple, IUIC, ISP, ISUPK, GOCC, TGC, formal members of the Sakari, you know, Pastor Dow. We just talking about individuals that's in the truth. We not expecting our people that's out of the truth to be misleading. We already know they misleading. We're not expecting any of that. They still in Christianity. But those that are in the truth, that picked up the mantle, all for what? The wrong purpose, to mislead their congregation, to pretty much get as much money from them as possible. This is what we're going into. So it says, those hate the good and love the evil. See? Who pluck off their skin from off them, and their flesh from off their bones. Who also eat the flesh of my people. See? And what else? And flay their skin from off them. That's all you is to them, man. All right? That's all you are to these charlatans, to these hirelings, to these false prophets. It's just something they can flay off of you. They're going to strip you down. They're going to take as much from you as you can. And they ain't going to have no remorse, okay? A charlatan or hireling doesn't care. All they care about is getting to the bag, man. They don't care about if they got to fillet you, if they got to, take the meat off of you, the bone off of you. This is spiritually they doing it. All right? Because this Bible is spiritually. All right? Matter of fact, let me see if I can look up that word flay.
Strong's H6584. Pashat.
It says to strip, invade, strip off, make, dash, raid, spread out. So they stripping off the truth. Here it is, you woke up to the truth, part of it, but they won't give you everything you need to put on the whole armor. Yeah, they gave you your identity, Yeah, they told you was an Israelite. Yeah, they may even tell you that Esau, Edom is the so-called white man. But they're not telling you the names of the Father and the name of the only begotten Son. They're not breaking down what the mark of the beast is. They're not giving you the quintessential things that you need to have. Primarily to call on the true names, man. And all truth and sincerity. All right? So they stripping, they filleting you. They taking off what it is that you have just put on of waking up to this truth and knowing who you are. They're doing a number on you, and all at your expense, because why? You're giving them what you believe to be alms. You're giving them tithes. You're giving them all type of money. But it says what? Let's go there and read that. Because you're pretty much paying for nothing. This is the book of Isaiah. Is that 50? 55? It says, Isaiah 55:2. Wherefore do you spend money for that which is not bread? See, you giving these people your money and you're not getting nothing in return. You're not getting that true and living bread, that manna. It says, in your labor for that which satisfy not. And in the days of Jacob's trouble, you're going to find out that everything you thought you was labored for in this truth is going to be for nothing. Unless you are the elect, unless you wake up. Because there may be some elect members in these camps, in these churches, okay? But they have to wake up before it's too late, and we're fastly approaching that time, all right? It says, in your labor for that which satisfy not, hearken diligently unto me, and eat ye that which is good, and let your soul delight itself in fatness. See, if you're looking on the outward appearance for someone to look like, they're majesty, or they're mighty, they got a nice garment on, you're gonna be misled. You're gonna be misled. See? This truth is very particular, all right? If you're looking for someone to look nice and look to be played a part, have a nice trimmed up beard and a nice fresh cut, with some nice garments on, to give you the truth, you ain't knowing that you being misled by a charlatan or a hireling, okay? See, the Lord has a way of sending you down the path that best fits you. If you are 2/3, guess what? You're going to go down the path to be misled by a charlatan or a hireling, or by whatever, measure that it is. If you're of the elect, he's going to put you on the path to get the precise knowledge that you need to build up your faith before the end comes, the end of this man's society. Esau, the so-called white man, 2nd Ezra 6 and 9. Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. See? So it depends on what path the Lord puts you on. The 2/3, you're going to be misled. The elect, you're going to be led correctly. All right? So these hirelings, these charlatans, they only after it for your money. They're going to strip you. They're going to strip you right down to your underwear. They're going to strip the flesh off of you. In the spirit, man. And physically too. Because if they don't warn you of what the mark of the beast is, when those missiles come and you take that mark, that charagma, that RFID microchip, the heat from the missiles is going to strip your flesh from off your bones. Alongside the chariots, man. Going to vaporize a lot of people. So back to these charlatans, these hirelings. Micah 3 and 2. Who hate the good and love the evil, who pluck off their skin from off them and their flesh from off their bones, who also eat the flesh of my people, and flay, strip off their skin from off them, and they break their bones and chop them in pieces to do what? As for the pot and as flesh within the cauldron. See? This is very explicit, okay? They just look at you as a meal ticket, okay? They're going to eat off of you, all right? You're going to provide for them what they need, which is most of the time money, greed. That's all they is. That's all they after. Selling you breakdowns, selling you Hebrew names, asking you for tithes, asking you for alms. When it says, freely did you receive this truth, freely should you give it. I believe that's Proverbs 23 and 23. This is Proverbs 23 and 23. It says, buy the truth and sell it not. Also wisdom and instruction and understanding. See? So that's how you buy the truth. Through getting wisdom, through getting understanding, through getting instruction. Now, it ain't wrong to go off and give alms and tithes. You're supposed to tithe, But to shake somebody down and to make them feel guilty, all for the purpose and the benefit of them to fill their wallets, their pockets, their purse. Come on. you got to watch out who you follow, all right? You got to watch out who you follow, because why? If you follow down the wrong path, that just means the Lord isn't choosing you. For many are called, but few are chosen, okay? Let's go to Matthew 10, is it? Salakia. Matthew 10 in verse 8. This is Yahushua speaking. He says, heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead. We were in a spiritual state of deadness. Cast out devils. We were, what's the word I'm looking for? We were infested with devils, man. Thoughts, our mind, calling on Jesus, calling on all these false idols. It says, freely ye have received, freely give, man. You're not supposed to be putting burdens on the people coming into this truth, making them feel like they owe you something, man. Oh, you got to subscribe to my Patreon channel. Or constantly reminding you of a Cash App or a PayPal or what have you. See? To them, it's just a hustle, man. They'll study hard because you got to be able to know what you're talking about in order for you to convince the people, for them to open up their checkbook and write you a check, or, send you some money through Cash App or what have you. You got to have some type of resemblance of knowing what you're talking about, some type of knowledge. All right? But at the end of the day, they doing it all for the wrong purposes. All right? That's why it says, let me see if I can get that. How do I word it? In 1 second. They have wonder how I know it has knowledge written in it. This is Romans 10. I'm not sure this is the one, but we'll see what it looks like. In verse 2, it says, for I bear them record that they have a zeal of the Most High, but not according to knowledge. All right, I believe it's in Corinthians, all right? But I can't recall exactly how to word it, but nevertheless, they're just using this truth to benefit them, okay? That's all it comes down to, all right? They got to be studied enough to convince you that they are indeed a man of the Lord, all right? That's the only way they're going to be able to strip the flesh off of you to cook you, all right? To get a meal ticket from out of you, all right? That's the only way, all right? So, for I bear them record that they have a zeal of the Most High, but not according to knowledge, see? They not, both the deceive and the deceiver. Because they may think they doing something, they may have some type of deep breakdowns, but it's not according to the knowledge of the Most High. They can't tell you what the mark of the beast is. They can't tell you who the name of the Father and the only begotten Son is. They may have a zeal, but it's not according to the knowledge, all right? And you may have a zeal, but guess what? Because you being led and deceived, you don't have knowledge according to the Most High, all right? Because both the deceived and the deceiver are his. It's that Job 12:16. It says, Job 12:16, with him is strength and wisdom. The deceived and the deceiver are his, see? So the Lord is just, if you a wicked individual, the Lord is giving you over to a wicked, leader, okay? That doesn't have your best interest at heart. All right, these are things that you should know. You should know the name of the Father and his only begotten Son. That's going to be what you call on. Those are the names you're going to be calling on when all hell breaks loose. You should know what the mark of the beast is so you don't take it. All right? You should have faith. You should be building yourself up. Okay? But these are the times that these leaders aren't getting you prepared for. Okay? So back to Micah 3 and verse, where we at? Verse 3, it says, who also eat the flesh of my people and flay their skin from off them, and they break their bones and chop them in pieces, as for the pot and as flesh within the cauldron. See? To you, you're just a meal ticket for them. Then shall they cry, then, verse 4, shall they cry unto Yahweh, but he will not hear them. Right. See? You ain't got the names to call on. You think the Lord is going to hear you? Let's get that. Isaiah, is that 50? 59. This is Isaiah 59. It says, behold, Yahweh, when you see the Lord in all caps, that's Yahweh. It says, behold, Yahweh's hand is not shortened that it cannot save, neither his ear heavy that it cannot hear. See? So we read in the Micah 3, it says when those individuals call out to Yahweh, he's not going to hear them. Why? It says, verse 2, but your iniquities, your sin, compound on top of sin. What is sin? 1 John 3 and 4. For sin is the transgression against the law. What is one of the laws? That thou shalt not have any other God before me. So when you go call on Jesus, or you go call on Christ, or you call on God, or you call on Yah, or you call on any of these other names with the ideology of it not being the true power and sincerity. See? In sincerity. Then guess what? You're committing sin. Okay? Because we don't know if you're talking about Yahweh. We don't know if you're talking about Yahuwah. All right? See, you have to put a cap or a end to that Yah, and you have to say the whole name, Yahweh, because you put Yah, and then you could put U, A, and something else. So that leads it to be vague. All right? No, we serve Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai in all truth and sincerity. And if you put any other idol or God before him, he knows your heart, which is your mind. So when you call, he's not going to answer because it says what? But your iniquities have separated between you and your power. And your sins have hid his face from you that he will not hear. Imagine that. When you need him at your most vulnerable, intimate time, Jacob's trouble, he's not going to hear you. And he doesn't care you know you're an Israelite. All right? He doesn't care. All right? That's only part of it. You got to be calling on, you got to be building up your relationship with Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai now. All right? Calling on other names is like a slap in the face, man. Especially when he's giving you the access to him by the man that he set up to give you the names to call on. See? So you need to pray that the Lord opens you up to receive these true names before it's too late, so that you can start to call on him and become intimate with him. All right? Because you're going to need him to show up in your most vulnerable time, Jacob's trouble, and leading up into that. All right? Which we already in the early stages of Jacob's trouble in World War III. So you better get it while you still can. All right? So back to Micah chapter 3 and verse 4, it says, then shall they cry unto Yahweh, but he will not hear them. And we seen why, okay? Your sins. He will even hide his face from them at that time. Imagine that. You was that close to getting it. But see, you wanted to be misled and given over to these, leaders that's just in it to take your money. And they're not giving you bread. All right, we read that in Isaiah 55. Why spend you money for bread that you cannot eat? See? So it says, then shall they cry unto Yahweh, but he will not hear them. He will even hide his face from them at that time, as they have behaved themselves ill in their doing. See, these pastors, we already know about the Christianity pastors and deacons and bishops, but you thinking you leaving that and coming into the truth, and little do you know, the leaders that you giving over to, they ain't no better, man. Okay? Matter of fact, they worse. That's why judgment is going to begin with those that know they're Israelites. All right? That deliberately misled the congregation, the flock. All right? All for what? Gains, money. Okay? It says, thus saith Yahweh, verse 5, concerning the prophets that make my people err. See? What? That bite with their teeth and cry, peace. See? And he that putteth not into their mouths, they even prepare war against them. Or Slakia, they even prepare war against him. Let's see what this looks like in a different translation. This is the NLT. It says, this is what Yahweh says. You false prophets are leading my people astray. You promise peace for those who give you food. Why spend this your money on bread that's not even food? But you declare war on those who refuse to feed you. See, they'll make you feel bad about yourself, man. You're supposed to tithe. If you don't tithe, the Lord ain't going to deal with you. But here it is. They won't even give you the true names, knowing it. They won't even give you the true breakdown of what the mark of the beast is, knowing it. All right? But they're going to make you feel bad. They're going to keep you tied to whatever it is that they got going on. Because why? They see you as a meal ticket. All right? They putting you in that cauldron. They cooking you and putting you into stew every week. All right? They spread a little bit of the truth. They sprinkle a little bit of the truth. But behind closed doors, they have ulterior motives, man. All right? And that's what a charlatan, that's what a hireling is supposed to do. They're supposed to mislead the people so that they can continue coming back time after time, feeding them, giving them their money, giving them whatever it is that they have, their resources, and what? Being taken advantage of. All under what? The guidelines, the banners of these are the people that the Lord set up. All right? So let's read that again. This is Micah 3 and 5 in the NLT, New Living Testament translation. It says, this is what Yahweh says. You false prophets are leading my people astray. The deceived and the deceiver are his. Okay? It says, you promise peace for those who give you food. So you break bread, you give them, a good portion of whatever it is you made and work for. They'll tell you whatever you want, man. All right? But if you don't, it says, but you declare war on those who refuse to feed you. Ask them a question too many times, and they're going to say, hey, man, maybe we don't see eye to eye. You ask them what the mark of the beast is. And you being truthful about it. You being sincere about it. Break it down. How can I buy and sell with sin? Or whatever it is that they say. What is the name of the Father? Why are we still calling on Christ and God, and we supposed to be, woken up to who we are? Why are we still calling on those same names that we had back when we was asleep? They're going to declare war on you, man. And it may be for the better, man. It may be the Lord trying to tell you to get the hell up out of there, man. See? But that's why you got to continue to pray and ask the Lord to guide you and to direct your paths. What's that? Proverbs 3 in verse 5. It says, trust in Yahweh with all thy heart and lean not unto thy own understanding. Did you ask the Lord to deliver you to that leader? Or did you just make a vague decision on your own and you just wanted to go down there? Did you pray when you ran across that camp on the highway and hedges? Or did you just get taken by the fact that they gave you a flyer and told you to come down to the school? Did you pray on any of it? Did you ask the Father to direct your paths in any of that? Or did you just make a haste decision, man? Because you were in the moment. See, this is all leading up to what it's going to be like when Jacob's trouble comes. You're going to have split decision making skills, and you're going to have to know, call on the Father. Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, direct my paths. Don't just be out there making decisions on your own, because that's what? That's the devil playing tricks on your mind, man. We ain't gonna get too many more times to get this right before all hell breaks loose, man. So we gotta stay in the spirit while we still can. So it says, trust in Yahweh with all thy heart, and lean not unto thy own understanding. Why? In all thy ways acknowledge him. And what should he do? And he, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, shall direct thy paths. You can't go wrong with that. When the Lord is directing your paths, you can't go wrong. But see, if you try to do something on your own, that's when you liable to go off, man. That's when you're liable to be a meal ticket for someone else, okay? So ask the Lord to guide you, to direct you, to show you the path, man. Even on the small things that you think is not small. That you don't think is small. Get in the habit, man, of just, praying to the Lord, being more involved, calling the names more, building up that intimate relationship. So when things happen, he'll hear you and he'll answer your prayers. So let's jump back over to Micah chapter 3. And where we at? Verse 6. It says, therefore, we read that in 5. We looked at it in a different translation, NLT. It says, therefore, night shall be unto you, that ye shall not have a vision, and it shall be dark unto you, that ye shall not divine. And the sun shall go down over the prophets, and the day shall be dark over them. Then shall the seers be ashamed. See? What's another name for prophets? Seers. It says, and the diviners confounded. Yea, they shall all cover their lips, for there is no answer of the Most High. Right. They're going to be found out just exactly who they are in that time, man, when the Lord ain't dealing with them. See, right now, they putting on a good show because it's pretty much open to anyone. Anyone can say that the Lord's dealing with them right now because shit hasn't hit the fan. But when all hell breaks loose, it's going to be known in that time. All right? The cloud going to set on, a dark cloud going to see. You're going to see it, man. You may not be able to see it right now, but if you of the elect, the Lord's going to make it, the Lord is going to expose them in some way, shape, or form to let you know, get the hell from around them, man. It says, then shall the seers be ashamed and the diviners confounded. Yea, they shall all cover their lips, for there is no answer of the Most High. Verse 8, but truly I am full of power by the Spirit of Yahweh, and of judgment, and of might, to declare unto Jacob his transgressions, and to Israel his sin. See? This is what we're supposed to be doing. Isaiah 58:1. Cry out loud and show my people their transgression. All right? This is why people say, why are you yelling out? Because we're supposed to be doing this. We commanded to do this by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. This is Isaiah 58:1. It says, cry aloud, spare not. Lift up thy voice like a trumpet. See? These false pastors and preachers, and even within the Israelite awakening, these leaders, they ain't telling you everything you need to know, man. Yeah, they telling you to keep the commandments. And you're supposed to try to keep the commandments to your best of your ability. But what about faith? What about believing in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai? See? So it says, cry aloud, spare not. Lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgression. You still calling on Jesus? You still calling on God? You in transgression, man. Although you keeping the commandments, you ain't keeping them for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai's sake, man. You doing it all under the banner of Jesus or Christ or Yah or Yeshua or Yeshaya or Haya or Yeshua or whoever, man. See, this is why we telling you, get the names right. Complete the circuit. It says, and show my people their transgressions, in the house of Jacob their sins. See? Jacob represents the 12 tribes of Israel. All right? So we're going to get back to Micah 3 and verse 7. Then shall the seers be ashamed and the diviners confounded. Yea, they shall all cover their lips, for there is no answer of the Most High. Verse 8, but truly I am full of power by the Spirit of Yahweh, and of judgment, and of might, to declare unto Jacob his transgression. We read that, Isaiah 58:1. And Israel his sin. Hear this, I pray you, ye heads of the house of Jacob, and princes of the house of Israel, that abhor judgment and pervert all equity. Verse 10, they build up Zion with blood and Jerusalem with iniquity. The heads thereof judge for reward. This is what it comes down to. They judge for reward. And the priests thereof teach for hire. They don't care about you. You're a meal ticket to them. They judge for reward and they teach for hire. And the prophets thereof divine for money. Ask yourself, what have you learned from these leaders that you didn't have to pay for? They think about it. Did they not ask you for anything? Did they not put you on a guilt trip and ask you for something? They probably went into scriptures too. But they're not giving you the true manna from heaven. They're not giving you Yahushua, man. They ain't teaching you mercy. They ain't teaching you about the Father's name, the only begotten Son, Yahushua's name. Come on. It says, the heads thereof judge for reward, and the priests thereof teach for hire, and the prophets thereof divine for money. Yet will they lean upon Yahweh and say, is not Yahweh among us? See? And all of that, they still want to somehow bring forth this truth and make it feel as if they're doing the right thing in front of you. And they say, it's not Yahweh, or they may even know the name, but they may not tell you the complete true doctrine. They may have the name, but here it is, they telling you that the mark of the beast is something totally different, which is going to affect your salvation, your deliverance. They telling you the names, yeah, but now they telling you, guess what? The mark of the beast isn't the RFID microchip. See? You got to really pray that the Lord, Yahweh, through his only begotten Son, Yahushua, directs your paths in all your ways. All right? And you got to be prepared to endure, because you may not get an answer right away, but you got to continue to still do what's asked and required of you until that time. You may not get an answer until all hell breaks loose. The Lord may set it up where you find out what you're looking for during Jacob's trouble. So it says, yet will they lean upon Yahweh and say, is not Yahweh among us? None evil can come upon us. See? This is what they tell their congregation. They make them feel like, they right at home. All the while, they still cooking them, looking at them as a meal ticket. Because why? They're hirelings, they're charlatans, they're diviners. They good with the word game, man. All right? They good with the word game, because that's probably what they was doing in the world before they woke up to the truth. Or they didn't completely wake up, but before they said, let's get this lick. Let's go teach these people and let's get a lick off of them. They probably was good with the word game, man. So it's nothing for them to transition over to this truth. They just got to study a little bit, and they hit you with a nice word game. And they say, the Lord with us, man. You see what he's been doing for the congregation lately, okay? However it is, they sell it to you. It says, it's not Yahweh among us. None evil can come upon us, all right? Verse 12, therefore shall Zion for your sake be plowed as a field, and Jerusalem shall become heaps, and the mountain of the house as the high places of the forest. These false prophets, they're going to have a lot of blood on their hand, man. Especially here in America, man. They're going to have a lot of blood on their hands. Because a lot of people are going to be taken out. A lot of Israelites, a vast majority, because 2/3 is more than 1/3, is going to die here in Babylon the Great because of these false prophets. And just because they weren't called to this truth, they weren't chosen. Let's read this in the NLT. Micah 3:12. Salakia, NLT, not interlinear. This is Micah 3:12. It says, because of you, Mount Zion, which is another name for Israel, it says, will be plowed like an open field. It's going to be, hey man, Jacob's trouble. A lot of our people going to get mowed down. Esau going to come through, martial law, the UN troops, it's going to be a lot of devastating casualties, man. It says, because of you, Mount Zion will be plowed like an open field. Jerusalem, which is another name for Israel, you Israelites, will be reduced to ruins, man. Ain't no one coming out of America outside of the elect on those chariots, man. This is going to be your final resting place before you come back into the kingdom in your right mind through the elect that made it through on this side. It says Jerusalem will be reduced to ruins. A thicket will grow on the heights where the temple now stands. See? So it's really finna get serious out here, man. All right? And these prophets, these leaders that's claiming to be man of the Lord, they got a lot of blood on their hand, man. All right? They got a lot of blood, man, because, they got a lot of these leaders, they got large congregations, man. All right? And they know the answer. They know the truth, but because of their pride, they don't want to accept it. So they're going to continue to still be charlatans and make money and make higher of their congregation. So it says, therefore shall Zion for your sake be plowed as a field, and Jerusalem shall become heaps, and the mountain of the house as the high places of the forest. Man. Charlatans and hirelings. This is John 10. We get ready to close out. This is John 10:5. It says, and a stranger will they not follow, but will flee from him. The elect, they're going to know it, man. Some is off about their teachings. Some is off about what they saying, that it doesn't matter what name we call on. We can still call on Christ and Jesus. Well, that don't sound right. I might as well just stay in the world then. Or the mark of the beast, it's sin in your right hand and it's thinking in your forehead. It's sinning with your right hand and it's thinking with your forehead. Well, how the hell can I buy like that? See, the elect is going to know. And they're going to distance themselves. Even if it means leaving. Oh, I was in the largest Israelite camp group community ever, but they weren't teaching right. I had to leave, man. I prayed to the Lord. He showed it. They weren't right. They weren't right in the spirit, man. It says, and a stranger will they not follow. Those are those false prophets. The elect, they gonna wake up in time and get the hell up from around them. It says, and a stranger will they not follow, but will do what? But will flee from him, for they know not the voice of strangers. Someone telling you that the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai doesn't matter, that's a stranger. Someone telling you that, the mark of the beast, which is predicated on your salvation, your deliverance, if you take it or not, and telling you what it is or what it isn't, that's a stranger, man. Oh, we ain't telling you that if they come out with an RFID microchip, you shouldn't take it. But what is you telling them? Because you're not clear with your answer. B, let your yea be yea and your nay be nay. If you saying that the mark of the beast isn't the RFID microchip, but if a microchip comes out, you know, you shouldn't take it, then what the hell is the mark of the beast is? See, they know what it is, but their pride won't allow them to acknowledge it. So they're going to keep telling you that the Lord is with us. He's among us, okay? If an RFID microchip come out that you got to have in order to, we're not telling you that you shouldn't take it, but we're telling you that the mark of the beast isn't the RFID. Come on, man. Let your yea be yea and your nay be nay. Is the mark of the beast the RFID microchip or not? Because if it isn't, then it shouldn't have no problem with me taking this device. But if it is, and you telling me to take it, then that's the voice of a stranger. So it says, for they know not the voice of strangers. Because why? They got the Lord directing their paths, man. The elect knows who the voice of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai is. St. John 10:27. My sheep is another way of saying the elect. Hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. See? Whithersoever the Lamb goes, man. We follow them. We hear the voice. And it's saying everything that resonates with our spirit to continue to allow us to endure. Okay? So that's pretty much it, you know. Could have grabbed 13. The hireling fleeth because he is an hireling and careth not for the sheep. Because once it's shown who they are, they're going to dip on you, man. It's only a matter of time that they can pretend for so long, all right? Shit's getting ready to hit the fan, all right? And they're going to have a lot of answering to do if they trying to stick around and get the bag during this time of Jacob's trouble. So a lot of people going to flee, but you're going to still have those that believe what they say and still stay there until the end, man. All right? But the sheep hears Yahweh's voice and follow him, all right? And Lord willing, we continue to follow Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai, all right? So let's go ahead and get this in 1 Peter 5 and 8, and then we'll close it out. This is 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 8. It reads, be sober, be vigilant. See, you got to pray that the Lord gives you sobriety and he keeps you sober-minded and he continues to give you the wisdom and knowledge and the understanding and the spirit to know exactly what you have to have in order to get to where you need to go. All right? So be sober, be vigilant. Why? Because your adversary, the devil, yes, in the Israelite awakening, you got false prophets, leaders, charlatans, hirelings, strangers, devils, because the word devil just means false accusers. They're not telling you what it is, so by that omission, they're not telling you what it is. They deliberately misleading you over a bag, a meal ticket, okay? So it says, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. Put you in that cauldron, cook you up, take you to the take you to the cleaners. All right? And you know closer than you was before you. Matter of fact, you worse off than when you was when you came into it. See? But if that's the price you got to pay to get out of that, and the Lord has mercy on you, so be it, man. Because once you take that RFID microchip, that's it. Ain't no coming back from that. So yeah, you may have lost thousands. If that's enough for you to say, I'm through with the truth, then you weren't chosen from the beginning. For many are called, but few are chosen, see? But if that's the cost that's the price of cost of doing business to keep your ass from taking that RFID microchip, by all means necessary. Hey, the Lord doesn't give us anything that we can't handle, man. I just did a lesson last night. Yahweh was about to apply pressure to Babylon the Great, man. You need to be getting in the spirit that, hey, shit's finna hit the fan. And when it does, it's going to move fast. Once that chip comes, we up out of here soon. All right? So be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. All right. So that's pretty much going to be it. With that being said, pray someone was edified through this lesson. And until the next time, if it be the Lord's will, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, stay strong, stay in the faith. We're almost home. Shalom. Peace.